mean, you know, it's not a whole, you know, Lionel Messi or nothing like that, but it is an MLS team, and they will be considered for some recognition. So St. Louis, you know, we had the arena football or whatnot. I don't know
I think they're rebuilding now
with that last year.
The XFL,
with the XFL or whatnot, the one that rocked out or whatnot. We had one of them teams, and I'll say that brought a lot of juice to the city. I'll give them credit for that. Whether people know it or not.
But then as soon as it came, you know, that's when the pandemic hit, and then but I think they're rebuilding. So we'll see how it goes. But you are out. You said you're out in Atlanta, right?
Yeah, I'm out in the Atlanta market right now.
How is it out there?
Oh, I love it. Everything is like, we haven't skipped the beat yet, you know? Like, it's just been on and going. You know, Atlanta was the first state to be opened up in the pandemic, you know? And we've been holding strong, you know? A lot of people who's been closing back down. We've never closed back down. The economical growth is just spectacular here.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I think in every state that you go to, you know, it's just all about being, you know, understanding in the sense of where you can go possibly, what your expertise is, you know, for the state itself. Like here in Atlanta, this is entertainment world. You know, a lot of the people come from here who's in the music industry and in the movie industry. You know, Tyler Perry done bought up the whole base over here. And he's doing all of his movies, all of the, you know, Walking Deads, everything is being produced out of here. So, you know, Atlanta's never missed a beat. You know, I went downtown last night and just seen everything, you know, people just out and about, walking around, enjoying themselves, you know, stuff is still moving.
What do you think is one of the main causes for that economic growth?
Hustle. People's mentality, you know, like when it's
but why does it only have to happen in Atlanta though? Because it does seem like Atlanta is thriving.
Because of how many people who are actually coming down here. Like Atlanta is like a group of entrepreneurs fit in one bubble space, right? If you get a lot of individuals who have elevational scale of thought and thinking process, you link them all together, nothing but good things is going to happen. You know, even in the pandemic of closed down environments and shrunken minds and, you know, pandemonium and everything like that that's going out here right now, you know, the entrepreneurs are like, let's get together, let's figure out how we can actually move forward and continue to grow, you know? So the movies aren't stopping, you know, yes, the commercial facilities are, you know, regulated differently, but what about like other houses? If you look at the reality TV shows are based out of houses, you know, they're not really in these, you know, commercial facilities. So by us being able to be so well close knitted next to each other, and if you know anything about Atlanta, they stick together down here, you know, the people who are actually doing things are all open with their stuff. If you can make money out here, you can make money on the team. So it's like a team sport out here. Everybody's joining forces together to really win this Super Bowl. You know, like you got individuals out there like, you know, like Tony Montana, you know, one of the greatest, you know, NFL quarterbacks out there. You know, like he couldn't be great unless he actually, I mean, not Tony Montana. What's my man name? From the football. Joe Montana, my fault.
Joe Montana. Okay, yeah.
Joe Montana. You know, like
Tony was out there. Okay.
Yeah, he was one of the best quarterbacks out there. You know, even all the way down to your Tony Romos, your Tom Brady's, people like that. You know, like they can't actually win these Super Bowls without the teammates around them. And as long as you have a good collective team around you, you can endure anything. You know, there's so many creative minds out here. You know, if you're not dealing with people who's always looking to grow and not going to let a hurdle stop them, you know, then you're really pretty much slowing yourself down. But if you're doing it, you know, you can't really stop it. I told my assistant the other day, it was just like, once that train stops, I don't care what you put in front of it. You know, you can put a 18-wheeler Mack truck in front of it. It's going to plow directly through it, you know, and the driving force of the market out here is just that powerful.
So, okay. So are you from Atlanta?
I'm not. I'm actually originally from New York.
Okay.
What part?
Queens, Jamaica.
And shout out to you.
And how long have you been in Atlanta?
I've been in Atlanta for about 2 years now.
2 years?
Yeah.
What made you move from New York to Atlanta?
No, I moved from DC to Atlanta.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Yeah.
So
I've traveled. I used to be in the military, you know, just traveling all over.
Where you was stationed at? I mean, like, what you do in the military? What was you?
I went in as a regular MP cop, and you know that got boring to me. So I ended up cross training, became an actual military sniper. Went on to work on the 341st Tactical Response Force. I was a sniper there. You know, I did all types of crazy stuff. Jumped off of, you know, out of helicopters, rappelled down buildings. I mean, all of the stuff you see on Mission Impossible, we used to do that in real life.
And you're smiling. Is that
where you was at? Where they had you at? Overseas or what?
I traveled a great deal while I was in the military. I mean, my first base that I ever touched down in was actually in San Antonio. My duty training station and everything like that was still there, so I continued to stay there for another 3 years in San Antonio. Then I traveled to Montana, did nuclear security. I became a sniper when I was in Montana, so from there, it was just like different places. From there, I was getting deployed like every other 5 days, it seemed like, once I actually cross-trained over.
Oh, because they knew you was going, they needed you out there, huh?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I mean, snipers in the military are a rare commodity. You know, there's only like a handful in each branch, you know, so that's why we go through vigorous, you know, intense training and everything like that, just because they want the best of the best at that playing field. You know, like there's a lot of people whose lives are in your hands.
So you laying some people down.
So you done lay some people down. Hey,
you got your account out here.
I definitely had to, you know, uphold my mission. So
you had to defend the country, sir. That's what you were doing. Okay.
Have you dealt with any mental health in regards to being in the military?
No, not at all. I mean, I'm always a strong-minded individual. You know, once you're strong-minded, nothing really can actually mentally break you down. Everything is going, you know, can only make you stronger. You know, I look at everything in the sense of what I've been through in my past as a stepping stone and a learning curve, because I tell everybody, life in general, we're all brand new, fairly new to this. You know, there was no one who gave us a rule book on how to succeed in life. So every corner that I take and, you know, every decision that I make is always a new journey with me. But it's more so of how you perceive the journey, and it resonated into, you know, what is going on in your life. You know, I think I did a video about, you know, this same topic not too long ago. It's just more so like certain things happen for a certain reason. You know, you just have to understand what that reason may be. Just because it's something bad happening at that point in time doesn't mean that, you know, God is against you, everyone is against you, the whole world is doom and gloom. It just means that, you know, there's a path of life that you're going down in which, you know, it may be uneasy, because success is an easy period. You know, I'm sure you guys, you know, started from somewhere way different than where you are at right now. And just due to the growth of understanding, like, you know, this is life. We've never been through this before. Every situation is meant to be understood and adapted and overcome. I watched the Pitbull video the other day. It was like, there's no such thing as failure, only solutions. I agree with that wholeheartedly, because at the end of the day, if you look at anything in the sense of a failure, you fail in itself right there at that point in time. I look at everything as a sense of a learning curve, you know, something that I need to learn that's going to make me better and make me wiser so that I can never do it again. You know, if you're going down the street and you know that that street is broken up, you will never drive down that street again unless you're well prepared.
Wow.
Okay. So you were 334th, I mean 34th. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And tactical response team. You were a police officer in the military as well?
Yes, I actually did the police thing first before I did the tactical response force.
Okay, so with all of that, coming from Jamaica, Queens, how did we get here? Like, how do we get to being a sniper on a prestigious response team not only before that, you was a police officer, but like you said, you coming out of Jamaica, Queens. There ain't no easy upbringing, especially.
So he did his job with swag.
Yeah, coming around the time and like you said, you a strong-minded individual. You in there talking all positive. They probably in there going crazy.
It looked like that was your passion. Like that was something that.
I mean, during that time frame of me coming out of high school, I was like, I called myself a smart dumb kid. I was so intelligent to the point to where my curriculum didn't, challenge me any. So, I was going through that, living in New York and DC in the 80s. DC was the crack heaven during the 80s. Like just growing up throughout those situations, actually just instilled a little bit more into me. It's just more so like, okay, I could go down these routes, or I can educate myself a little bit better and understand exactly what the heck is going on. My mom told me, she's like, I thank God that you were able to stay on the track in the sense of what God put you down the path of doing, because you could have easily went down the route of everyone else, just being out there. A lot of my friends that I grew up with, they all dead, but that having that understanding of wanting much more out there just pretty much opens up the table for you. I believe that everything happens for a reason, by me wanting to be a sniper, by me coming into the situation, by me going through the situation with all of my friends passing away. I actually saw that this is not the route that I want to take in my life, So instead of me being that individual to go out there and try to make something of myself out of that situation, my grades was just down. I was skipping school. I was doing all types of stuff. So I couldn't go to college, and it was just more so like, where do I go? During those time frames, if you understand, the military, not to downplay the military or anything along those lines, but the military feeds on a lot of less fortunate individuals,
right.
People who can't go to college and everything else like that. That's their whole promotion. We'll pay for your whole schooling, tuition, everything like that. Come over here. During that era, my grades wasn't good enough in order for me to get into an accredited college. So I was like, I'm gonna use the military as a stepping stone to be able to take myself from this situation to becoming, what it is that I want. And I was a police officer at the time, and without the military, you got to go through a 4-year degree. If you do the military as a law enforcement, everything like that, you can cross-train directly out of the military and into being a police officer due to you having the history. So I was going to utilize that as a stepping stone. But when I got in the military, I just started seeing things that just wasn't right, I guess. I got into trouble and everything else like that. And during that time frame, I was a super trooper. I wanted to make the best out of my career when it came down to the military. I mean, if you're going to do something, I was always told to do it to the best of your best, go 110,000% with it. And that's what I did. And, but throughout it, I believe that God just knew that there was a bigger path for me, because going down the lines that I was going down in the military, you're talking about being a sniper. That's a very high, intense job. I can easily be killed doing those type of, those jobs. I can have a plane crash, while I'm just doing patrolling. I could get shot while I'm out, doing my mission. There's things that could really stop me from even being here right now talking to you guys, but God, set me down. He opened up my life, and and I read that Robert Kiyosaki book, The Rich Dad Poor Dad, and then I started going into different books like Think and Grow Rich and just other books that just open up my mindset in a whole different realm. And it's like, what do I want to do? If I can sit out here and I can go to a 9-to-5 job and I can go be employee of the month and I can go out here and be the best freaking employee for another person's establishment. This guy just opened up my eyes and told me that if I did the exact same thing and I dedicated just as much time and energy into myself, that I could not only become rich, but I could also help everybody else around me. And that clicked in my head. It resonated home like I don't know what, because coming from where I came from, it's just like none of my peoples understand the life of really being able to be successful. All of my peoples, they struggle. They, it's rob Peter to pay Paul. But I told my mother when I was 3, I was going to buy her first house. And real talk, I bought my mother her first house. Like it's about actionable events and doing the things that you say that you're going to do. And just, you know, with me being in that position, it's just like, yo, I had to take advantage of it. And now I'm here, you know, I moved full speed ahead. I got locked up. I did my little bid. I educated myself. I continued to be strong. I continued to take care of my daughter even while I was incarcerated and everything, you know. But it's just, I'm a big believer that God blesses those who want it, you know, but you really have to want it. You know, people say they want a lot of things, but they don't really want it, you know, like how bad are you going to go? How hard are you going to go for what you believe in? You know, like I'm going to die for what I believe in. My kids is going to watch videos like this and they're going to be like, you know, my dad, it was very powerful. Why? Because real estate and entrepreneurship and knowledge and education, it just makes sense, you know. And if you're not giving this information back and you're not helping and teaching other people, then what is your purpose? That's what the true meaning of a legacy is to leave something that is going to be a foundational piece that somebody can in turn then later on 50, 40, 60, 100 years from now can still be beneficial off of. And this right here is just that, you know. And that's what I tell you, you know, like I appreciate y'all. You know, just like how I help you, you help me. You know, this is a must in accordance to the journey, and we have to go through these certain things in order to become who we're going to be.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you, sir, because like I said, with your journey, and like you said, for most people out here who didn't even catch on, like you said, at one point you were even incarcerated. And we, like you said, you doing real estate now, but we're talking about coming from Queens, being a sniper in the military, being incarcerated. Now we're doing real estate. That's the journey that I'm talking about. People need to see that, mainly our people in our communities, because we know we don't, like you said, we don't have successful figures to look up to. So when people see you and they see that, you know, you actually lived it and you come from the bottom and you made your way to the top and you maybe even fell off and came right back up. Because like you said, you don't give up and you don't look at it as failure, more as a learning lesson.
So how did you get into real estate?
I read that book, that Robert Kiyosaki book, and like it opened up my eyes, right? I felt like after I read that book, like I had been lied to. Like I had been like misled my whole, at that point in time I was like 24. My whole 24 years of me being on this world, I felt like I've been lied to. And then it was like,
it was true.
Damn, this has been in plain sight all day. And I asked everybody, I started asking everybody, I said, what's the first board games that you've actually got, you know, introduced to when you were a kid? You know, first things they say, and is like Game of Life, Monopoly, things of that nature. And what that game really opened up my mind to understand was that my mother gave me the game of Monopoly, and my mother still, she knew how to play the game on board, but she still did not understand the full concept of the game. The game of Monopoly is to go around one time. That's the game one experience, right? Because we always got to go around at least one time to understand how we get back to our destination. Two, the next objective is go around and then acquire an asset. In my mother's lifestyle, my mom was never educated enough.
Where'd he go? All right.
Oh, 1 second.
Living.
But yeah,
with that.
Yeah, we left off and you were explaining how you got your start in
Yeah, got too hot. Yeah, so the conversations was getting a little hot. But
well, no, you're talking about your mom and everything and how she was motivating you when you were young, and you know, I can respect. And you were talking about, you know, the financial literacy that we lack as a people, which is exactly what we need to talk about.
So where I was going with it was just like, you know, in the game of Monopoly, you know, my mom didn't understand the first or the second concept of the game itself, right? Because the concept is to go out there and to go acquire a property first, so that whenever somebody else land on your property, you can actually get paid for them landing on your property, which is classified as rent, right? So, but the average family out here, they don't own properties. They rent. My grandmother, 70, 80 years old, still lives in the same apartment that she's always lived in since beyond, you know, like, so at the end of the day, she didn't understand how to teach the game correctly. She just knew how to play it. But my question to her was is that in life itself, when somebody asks you what's your most important factors of, life, my thing would be a roof over my kids' head, food in my kids' mouth, and clothes on my kids' back, and in the same order for myself. But most people don't go out there and accomplish and be great at the one thing that they most worry about, and that's a roof over their head. Like, why not superhero? Clearly, I've done that on multiple occasions, but it's just more so in the sense of having that understanding of how to legit play the game. Most people don't even think that they have the ability to buy a house because their credit is messed up. But at the end of the day, you can go out there and go fix your credit. If you work on you, tell everybody the only thing that can happen when you work on you is that you're great at the end of the day. Beneficial. So therefore, in the state of the game of Monopoly and growing, once I understood that game and understood how to implement it into my life, it's just all about being able to position myself so that I'm prepared for an opportunity when that opportunity arises, instead of being not prepared and miss out on that opportunity altogether. That's all this is, including, like this networking at the end of the day. I want to be able to come in the presence of an individual and be able to show that individual that my value, just by being me, is worth more than gold of its own, and if I'm doing that by me doing this in real estate, business, anything that it is that I want to put my mind to, people are going to work with me because they can feel the spirit. They can feel how genuine a person really is. If you dealt with somebody before in the past and they weren't so good of a person, you feel that energy. Everything out here has to do with energy. So when it comes down to you yourself growing, understanding how to take things as small as a board game and transfer it into real life, it's not that hard. Like, I learned how to ride a motorcycle in my brain, in my head. I dreamt me getting on a motorcycle. I clicked the clutch, pulled the throttle back, put the gear down, and I drove off, right? This was in my dream though. I went to the DMV. I got my motorcycle license on computer now. I'm intelligent. Passed it the first time, right? Never rode a motorcycle a day in my life. 2 weeks later, I didn't even have the money. My credit was shot. 2 weeks later, I asked my homegirl, I said, I have the money though, like that. I could pay my monthly bills, but my credit is shot. Can you just get me, co-sign for me a motorcycle? She says, okay, cool, sure. I get the motorcycle. I get one of the biggest motorcycles out there on the planet. I get a Hayabusa. This motorcycle goes 200 plus miles per hour. Like, I get on this thing and I crank it up and I do exact same thing that my brain told me to do in that dream. And I drove directly off of that lot like I've been riding motorcycles for forever. Like, no one would have been able to tell that I never got foot or set foot on a motorcycle, only because I was able to take what I saw up here in my mind and put it into full action. That's the only difference between being successful and not being successful. I'm willing to go at a split instant. As soon as you tell me to go, I'm going. That's it. Like, other people, I use this analogy all the time, right? Me and you. We want to go to the same destination. I say I want to go to California. You say you want to go to California. Me being in my position, in my mind state now, I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to get to Cali. The average individual is going to do what? You're going to go back home. If you got kids or anything like that, you're going to go back home and you're going to go to work the next day and you're going to start saving up money. And then you're going to go out there and you're going to go look for apartments, go look for a job transfer. You're going to get to Cali in your time, the time that resonates in your brain. But think about an individual like myself. Me and you talking today. I say, yeah, bro, I want to get to Cali. You say, yeah, bro, I want to get to Cali. I said, okay, cool. But you going to hit me up later on this afternoon, and you're going to be like, bro, where you at? I'm like, yeah, man, I'm over here in Louisiana. What you doing over there? Man, I just caught a ride. I went up here to the gas station. I asked my man where he was going. He said he was going to Louisiana, go see his mother. I hopped a ride with him, and I'm here, bro. Like Mardi Gras going on right now. I'm having a blast. Look, can't you see? Look, we out here, we out here having a fun. I'm going to hit you the next day. A couple hours later, you still at work. You're going to take your lunch break and you're going to call me again and you're going to be like, bro, where you at? I'm going to be like, yeah, bro, I'm out here in Vegas. What you doing? Man, I'm out here chilling out here in Vegas, man. I got out here still. I threw my thumb up, eventually get there. In 3 more days, 2 more days, however you going to hit me, I'm going to hit you and you're going to hit me and I'm going to be like, hey, bro, where you at? I'm in California. You still within that 3 days done went to work and prep and pre-gamed on how you were going to get to California. But just due to me wanting to get to California so bad, I didn't think about how I was going to get to California. I just knew that I was going to get to California. Whereas now when I get to California, it doesn't matter whether or not I have a job, whether or not I have anything. I'm at the destination to where I said that I was going to be. Now the actual building of getting a job and everything is going to be way more beneficial than you, because now you still got to go get a job. You still got to transfer your stuff. You still got to go through all of these motions instead of actually hadn't gotten to California, then doing the actual motions that you would have done there, because it don't make sense. Why are you now going to build the foundation where you are today instead of going where you want to go and then building the motion at where you are then? It just makes more sense. But that's the difference in between why a person is not successful and how a person go from 0 to $1 million some odd dollars overnight. My drive is just fast. I don't want to wait. People, my mom used to always tell me, you always jumping into relationships. Because, man, like, I want to get in, get out. I want to know what I'm dealing with and have an understanding as to whether or not this is going to be a wasted time or energy at this point in time. We only have so much time on this world, with the pandemic, with everything that we're going through. When is that time going to clock out for us? It could be tomorrow, but we never know. But today, you better believe I'm going to do everything in my power to accomplish everything that I set out that I was going to do. Mm-hmm. It's only right.
Yeah.
And so from that, you took that over to real estate. How did you first get into that? What was your first experience with that?
Real estate, I ended up, going through the motions. I paid for a seminar. Ended up going out to the seminar, and when I started learning things like wholesaling, that literally I could flip a property with never owning it and make $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 on the deal, I was like, you know what? This is like legal drug selling, but with houses. Instead of me selling bricks in the sense of a drug, I'm selling real brick and mortar. It makes sense. One is going to lead me to the path of death and in jail. One is nothing going to make me but richer, So I started implementing it, and with real estate is just like anything else. It's a people's person sport, it's the ability to be able to talk to someone and have someone feel like they are comfortable or safe in your hands. And all that comes from knowledge. If I know that 1 + 1 = 2, I'm not going to tell you it equals 3, or I'm not going to tell you that I can bring back 5. I'm going to be honest with you and tell you exactly where you are and how, we're going to elevate this. So I started going out there, started putting out signs, started knocking on people's door, started doing everything under the sun. And then one day I ended up getting a call from this realtor. And she was like, I see your sign out here. I have this house. I need to sell it really quick. This property is not my forte of property. It was a beat up house. It had flooded out and some more stuff. But she was so used to the luxury style type houses to where she could just put it on the market and it's going to sell itself. She was like, I need you. So I went out to the property, looked at it. I didn't have $1 to my name really like that. But all I knew is that I wanted to actually succeed in this. I ended up putting the property under contract. I ended up asking my family for $5,000 during this time frame so that I could put up the earnest money. I did it, and then I ended up making almost $80,000 off of it, and I never looked back. You know, like, and
you never look back, huh?
Man, it don't make sense. If I had to struggle for 12 months to make $28,000 and I was able to make $80,000 in less than 30 days, like, wow, what am I wasting my time on? How many times can I do this?
Because we talking 1.5 in 12 months, right?
Yes, in a split second. I mean, you talking, once I understood the game, you know, once I understood it and understood how to not only regurgitate what I was reading, but also comprehend everything that I was reading and actually like turn it into something creative for myself, because everybody is different. You can be, you know, doing, you know, the things that you're doing, but there's somebody else out there who's doing the exact same thing that you're doing, but creatively, you know. And that's what I was in the mind state of. I said, these people, they're way older than me. Like, you look at them, they're like, hey guys, you know, this is it's like the dry eye commercial guy, you know, like the clear eye, the guy, you know, like, even though it was like that, it's like the information is still information at the end of the day. You know, the truth is still the truth at the end of the day. You know, let me just go ahead and implement it and see if this is going to work out. And real talk, I had lenders giving me money just because I had set up a process that made so much sense to where I can make money in it out and never ever do anything, all due to leverage. Once I understood how to leverage another person's time and get paid for someone else's energy, oh my goodness, the whole world opens up to your advantage, because it's like I can be in multiple places at one time.
Now that's deep right there.
And how long was this?
I first started real estate in 2011.
Okay.
How old were you then?
I was 24 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you had what, 120 properties by 25?
25 in less than 12 months. I had linked up with a lender. This lender had gave me all of the money that I could ever imagine. Every single property that I was getting accepted from a homeowner, they was giving me the money to buy it. At one given time, I looked back in my whole portfolio, I had owned in my company name 120 properties going down that list of all of the properties that I personally acquired and closed on in my company's name.
So I'm sorry, what did you have to go through to get and before you consider that, to get to the lender? Like, what they check credit, how much money you're making or anything? Like, how does that whole process work?
The good thing about real estate is that real estate, in 9 times out of 10, is an asset-based, you know, situation. Mm-hmm. The property itself is where the money is. As long as you can prove the value is there, it's a no-brainer. All you need is the money. If I'm able to pick up a property for $55,000 and the property's worth $320,000, but all I need is $50,000 to renovate it, and it's $200,000 on the table, you think they're not gonna give me the money?
All right.
They're fighting tooth and nail trying to get the deal from me because they want dibs into that. So what I was doing was I was giving them 30% of every single deal that I got that they gave me 100% financing on. So I make 70% for doing absolutely nothing, for just allowing these people to put their money up and walk away with 30% on their money.
Yes, sir. That's what I want to hear.
That's how you do it. Right? That's what I'm talking about.
Got it. Hey,
that's free game right there. That's free game. A lot of people won't soak that up.
Listen,
because a lot of people think you have to have, you know, like you gotta, you know, come in with a lot of cash in order to be successful at real estate.
All you need is drive and determination. That's it. Because everybody's so used to such direct gratification. You know, they think that just because I did one video today, I'm supposed to get 100,000 views on my video. No, it takes time. People put out videos for years before they get up to that level. You know, you have to put in that work. You think that you eat just because somebody went out here and just found something and packaged it up and delivered it to you? No, it took energy into that. They had to raise the cattle. They had to raise the chicken. They had to plant the seeds. They had to fertilize the soil. They had to do everything under the sun to get it to where it's even presentable for you. But even when we get it, what we have to do, we still have to prep and season and still do more things before we digest it into our body. It takes work in order to be able to get where you need to be. Most people want stuff given to them. I don't want nothing given to me. I was always told to be a grinder, a hustler, somebody go out there and go feed your family. You know, I was always told to look back into our ancient civilizations and stuff like that. The men were actually the go-getters. They killed the prey, they killed the animals, brought it back to the actual village, and the mothers and stuff like that, they kept everybody together, healed everyone, fed everyone, kept the kids together. It has to be that way. If you don't understand who you are and what you're really doing, you're lost. We all lost at one point in time, but we all have to find ourselves. And only through these journeys of things like this, bad things, facing 32 and a half years, single father, doing these things, going through these measures, I had to go through those things in order for me to be here. Just at the end of the day, now I can go out there and do things a heck of a lot more visually quicker, you know, just because, you know, the circumstances is, you know, a little bit more advanced now with all of the technology that we have out here to our advantage.
Wow.
Are you into technology? Are you investing into that? Or
not at this moment. I mean, you know, in the sense of the technology side, yes, I am investing in the technology, but it's only towards my own investments, towards my company. I make my company to where the knowledge base of it is definitely quicker due to the technology out there. Like, I don't do things like the normal people do it. You know, I utilize different type of softwares that I can now alleviate me going out to physical locations in order to get things done.
Okay. Now, you mentioned earlier about out in in Atlanta, we're talking about the economic growth, and you mentioned like there's like TV, and you were mentioning that like with the housing. Now, have you ever rented your property out for reality TV?
I have. I've done reality TVs in my properties. I've done music videos for some of the biggest artists out here. I mean, you know, since I've been in real estate, and people ask me nowadays, you know, like, who are you? Are you a rapper? Like, I'm like, no, I'm not a rapper, but just due to me being an all-around entrepreneur, you know, I understand that real estate isn't just one track mindedness, you know. So I see people in the movie industry who need venues. I see artists who need venues plus vehicles and things of that nature. So I open up a different realm to be able to not only be connected with a lot of these celebrities that people idolize on TV, but I can also get paid for my time and also make it beneficial for us all. I can legit say, hey, go to this video. Look, you see the atmosphere? That's my house. You know, that's a cool avenue. Then to be like, man, I wonder what it was like to be next to this person. You know, you get to really enjoy the experiences of the fruits of your labor, you know, and being creative with it.
Right. So living next door to Rick Ross and all of this crazy stuff. How was that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that's got to be wild.
Oh yeah, that's dope. You getting lemon peppers all day.
I drive past Ross' house every day and just look over and just shake my head because it's just so motivating, you know? Like, to be able to see a black man doing so well like that. I mean, almost 50,000 square foot of house, 230 something acres of land. I mean, that's like kingdom status, you know? Like, I only imagine. So me living next door, you know, I could be a normal person and just hate, like, I don't know what, Rick Ross house ain't nothing, you know, like it ain't nothing. But at the end of the day, it motivates me, you know. It's more so like, man, I could really be there one day, you know. And granted, you know, in my line of work, I could literally be there tomorrow if I wanted to, you know. So it's really elevated a lot of things that I have going on for myself and then in my area, you know, because especially with me being up so close to him, it's a good physical attraction for, you know, a lot of different people who aren't from here, you know. Like, I mean, what if somebody was coming into town and they was legit doing a music video with Rick Ross, you know? Like, where are they going to go? You know, are they going to go all the way downtown, or are you just going to go, you know, a couple yards to the left and stay at that house? You know, it just makes sense, you know. And then I'm able to do creative things with me having, you know, a house right here next to him, because it's visually, you know, great. You know, now instead of, I tell people like this, people's like, oh, the rental is not good in this market and stuff like that due to the pandemic. I said, you're wrong. I said, because here's how you're thinking. You're thinking one track minded. Most people will go out there and they'll get a house and then they'll rent out the entire house to one family, which they would only get like $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 for the entire house. But get this, I went from doing Airbnbs to letting people sleep in my houses and stuff like that, to cutting off Airbnb altogether. You know, like, even in Airbnb, I was making anywhere between 5 to 750 per day for a whole full house, right? Plus my cleaning fees, so that was about $1,000. Once I cut Airbnb completely off, and then I started focusing and honing into myself, I said, what is Airbnb really doing for you? They're nothing but a third-party facilitator. They're a middleman. They're taking money off of the top and then giving you money what they feel that you need. I cut Airbnb off, got creative, and then I started renting out my houses for $2,500, $5,000 for 4 hours. I don't have to dedicate my time into allowing the person to spend a night in one of my houses now. I can dedicate 4 hours out of my time, make $5,000, $10,000 for that same house that now I would have rented out to one person for only $1,300. It's just thinking outside of the box. Now for that exact same house that I would have made maybe $5,000 on monthly, now I make almost $50,000 a month just by doing what the normal Joe Schmo do. Hanging around celebrities, letting them have fun, enjoying their time. I get paid to live now.
That's dope.
Yeah,
that's dope.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So, can you talk to us about the struggles of being a single father?
Oh,
That's
Lord.
deep.
Oh, Lord.
That's deep right there. And for you to be as successful as you is, and to have your upbringing, and like you said, have your turmoils and your trials and tribulations, being a single father during all of this, especially for the young fellas out here, not the ones that ain't taking care of the children, but the one that are taking care of their kids and handling their business.
Boy
How
or girl?
should they look?
Boy or girl?
Yeah.
One of each. Got a boy and a girl. I've been a single father to my daughter for 13 years. My daughter will be 13 in 8 days, August 31st. But yeah, I've been doing that since birth. You know, she was delivered and then brought into my room and was like, here you go, daddy. I'm looking at her like, what do I do? You know, they like figure it out. I'm like, okay, cool. But being a single father, it's one of my most motivating drives for me, you know, because I look at it as, if it wasn't for my kids, it would just be me by myself. I'm okay without being out here starving if it was me by myself. I'm okay with being out here running from this person's house to that person's house if it was me by myself. But with me having my daughter here 100% of the time, man, my son, you know, it opens my life up in the sense of, I was looking over my daughter one day and I started crying. And I only started crying due to the fact of the matter because I started talking to myself, and I had to ask myself, like, are you really that father figure that you want her to be? I mean, that you want her to look at you as, you know? And I had to ask myself, like, no, I'm not doing everything that I should be doing as a father. And me being honest with myself, it opened myself up to being able to be real and understand when I was really messing up in my life. Like, bro, you can't do this shit. You know, you legit have to go out there and go do everything you need to do, not for yourself, but for these children. Because at the end of the day, they didn't deserve to be born into this world. You and your actions brought them into this world. So now it takes for you to give them not only a good life, but the best damn life that they possibly deserve. So throughout the situation, of course, life is never peaches and cream, you know. It was hard. I lived in rooming houses. I bounced around from people's house to my aunt's house to grandma's house. I was robbing Peter to pay Paul. But at the end of the day, just looking at that face every single day and understanding, like, bro, if you don't get your stuff together, literally, how is she going to look at you? By you not being the person that you should be for your kids are going to spiral affect your kids out into being a statistic. And I had to eat that pill. Do I want my daughter out here in these streets? Do I want my daughter getting guidance from a random man out here in this world? No. So I got to get my stuff together and instill all of the values and morals into my children the way that I do, you know, the way that I do into myself. So
how old is your son?
My son's 11. My daughter's 13.
He come over a lot of.
Yeah, he's here right now.
Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up.
They're about to jump in the swimming pool out back right now. You know, like, I mean, they, you know, I love it, you know, and the journey from the struggle, I love the fact that my kids didn't miss a beat. They watched it. They experienced the struggle all the way down to the homelessness and sleeping in disgusting, filthy places that I could never even imagine having my children in, right? But at the end of the day, they seen daddy go from nothing to a multi-million-dollar empire, and not long, overnight damn near, you know. And it's only due to my desire to want to give them more, you know. I watched an interview of my daughter. She was being interviewed, and they were like, what do you think about your father? And just her response almost broke my heart, you know. It was just more so like, my father's like one of the best fathers out there. You know, like, I watch him. He works like crazy. You know, he wants more. I know my dad is going to be successful just because of the things that I seen. He told me that we were going to be rich. And one day he came in here and he put, I think it was like almost $100,000. It wasn't 100, but that's what she thought. It was like more like $25,000. But he put like $100,000 on my lap, and I touched it. I seen it. I was playing around with it. I couldn't believe it, you know. But just being able to give my daughter and kids those type of experiences that no other person will ever do, so to be able to be like, hey, baby, like, money is not an object. This is nothing but physical paper. You know, that's everything. You know,
have brothers and sisters?
I have one sister, two sisters. I'm sorry. My mom just had a baby. Not just had a baby, but my baby sister and my daughter are the exact same age. It's crazy.
How are they? Like, they doing good?
Yeah, they're all good. They're all good. My mom's blessed. You know, my mom still works for the military. You know, believe it or not. I've been trying to get her retired for the longest of time, but you know, my mom's a hustler. She works like crazy. She feels like, you know, if she's not moving and not working, you know, she's not doing something, you know. So I don't knock her, but you know, she definitely's out there doing good for herself, you know.
So dealing with this multi-million-dollar empire, can you give any advice to the upcoming entrepreneurs out here who want to start empires of their own, whether it be through real estate or selling candy bars, whatever the case may be? do you have any advice you could give them far as banking goes? Because that's one thing that I feel like us in the community definitely don't know about is banking and actually where to put our money and how should we look at while it's placed there, as far as interest and everything.
Got you. So here's my thing and why I love real estate whatsoever, because real estate is my banks.
Okay.
I don't like money in banks. Why? Because it doesn't give me no interest or real returns on my money. Even if you think about things like IRAs or mutual funds or things like that, they don't give you real returns on your money. I can literally sit around here and go outside in the store and beg for those type of returns and make that just off of my own efforts, you know? But in the sense of real estate, check this out, right? I ended up buying 14 houses. And throughout that time, I ended up meeting for one of my properties, I ended up meeting some crazy contractors. They were supposed to be rehabbing the house. Come on site, had a bad judgment of character, right? Come on site, they were on site snorting coke and some more stuff, right? So I had to fire all of the contractors. But I let the property sit for 12 months. It just sat. For the 12 months that it sat, right? Now imagine if your money was in a bank. For the 12 months that it sat, the property went from being worth $250,000 to $370,000 in 12 months. You do the math. I can take that type of economical growth all day, right? It's only due to the fact that, you know, throughout that time, they did build the Mercedes-Benz Stadium right up next to the house, in which changed the growth of it. But I understood that before I bought the property, right? So throughout that, I got to sit on my butt for 12 months, did absolutely nothing, and made an additional almost $120,000 just by storing my capital in real estate. If any one of my family members needed a place to go, hey, got a house up the street you can stay at. You don't have to go to a hotel. You don't got to go to an Airbnb. How many banks will allow you to go keep their family in their institute while they chilling at your house? It just makes sense, you know? There's other things out there that you could do that are creative. Stocks, bonds, stuff like that. But they are very risky, you know? You can make money and you lose money in a split second. I'm not into gambling my money away. I like to know realistically where my money is, how much growth I can predict based on economical growth, just normal economical growth. And with real estate, you can do forced economical growth. So not only do I have to wait around for the economic to go up, I can personally force the economic to go up in whatever geographical area that I target. As long as I have that cash to be able to buy Susan's house, his house, her house, his house, their house, and the house around the corner. If I sell all of them, if all of them were on the market at one point in time for $100,000, now I bought all of these houses and now I just put them all on the market for $200,000. How are you going to tell me that they're not worth $200,000 when now 10 properties are on the market right now for $200,000?
Yeah.
I can force it.
Free game.
Yeah, I like that.
That's free game.
Force it. Yeah.
What do you think about digital currency?
Digital currency is amazing. I love it. I mean, because it starts to open up more creative minds, you know, like we've been enslaved forever. You know, I feel like to the point in it's always a check and balance system when it comes down to, you know, how we move. Yeah, you're able to do stuff, but you better come back to me. Like now with this whole digital currency and then you got things like Bitcoin and stuff like that. Oh my God, what are you going to do with me? You can't. You can't control my elements now because now I'm an independent artist. I'm not signed to a label anymore. I can go do whatever it is that I want to do without any elements from anybody else dipping into my pockets.
Indeed.
Gotcha.
That's a fact.
It's free game, man. This is
yeah, man. Listen, I appreciate all this free game you giving out today.
Been great.
Folks need listen. People need to hear this. Like I said, at the end of the day, people need to hear this, especially the younger children and everyone, and especially in our community. We need to hear this because, like I said, we don't have much of this financial literacy going around anyway, especially when it comes to everyone talking about buy the block back. That's basically what you just said. If I buy every house on this block and put it at a certain price, you cannot
this
tell me.
It's an upstanding community. You can't tell me it's not.
You cannot tell me it's not. I don't care if I don't care if it ain't number black people in this neighborhood. Every house 200 on the block.
Yeah.
You dang on right. This is a great neighborhood. You want to live out here, you going to have to have
Jay-Z buy the Marcy's, the projects or something? And he did, right? And now it's expensive. Yeah. Now you can make music videos in front of it, no problem.
Yeah. It's one of the most pristine places right now. Only due to him forcing the economical growth. Look at Nipsey. Nipsey took a whole area that he actually used to sell drugs in front of and revamped it.
Yeah.
Turned it into something totally different. Now it's a place that you want to go to. Now it's a place of realistic legacy.
Yeah.
Why? Because he put it in motion. He understood how actually ownership is everything. Mm-hmm. They say possession is 9/10 of the law, right?
Yeah.
If I own it, how can you take it? If I own it, how can you control me? You can't control me. Now imagine if I lived in an apartment. If they wanted to come in your house, all they gotta do is give you 24 hours notice. They in there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In my house, you can't even step foot on my land unless I give you permission.
Mm-hmm.
What side of the coin you want to be on? I'm not a peasant. I'm a king.
That's right. What advice could you give to like any teenagers looking to start their first business? What would you recommend? You know, for that, what kind of business tips could you give?
I mean, for teenagers, for people coming out of high school and everything else like that, I would tell them to start investing in themselves, building up their credit, getting their credit as close to as 850 as humanly possible. Because here's the deal. When you walk into these institutes and they go size you up and your mom done already messed up your credit score because she done put a cell phone bill on your joint when you was the age of 8 years old and now you don't have no credit or no history to be able to build off of. When you my age, when you 28 years old, when you 34, 35 years old, you're going to wish you went out there and got a credit card and did right by it and build and establish credit throughout this time frame. I hear so many, like, even on the music level, because that's what a lot of these young cats be wanting to do, in the sense of the men, they want to go out there, they want to be rappers. The girls, they now coming out want to be rappers, stuff like that, models, stuff like that. It's just the trendy thing to do nowadays. I mean, but at the end of the day, there's more, I guess, of a hurdle standpoint for these individuals, for these kids, because they don't know how to go out there and go get the money. So what do? They go either rob and steal, they do other crazy things, or they sign their life away and get like 360 deals to where they have no daggone control over their own legacy, period, point blank, for a measly $10,000 to $20,000, so they can go buy a chain and go buy something that's going to depreciate in value almost instantaneously. But get this, if they took that same money, because even on the upper scale people who actually go to a 9-to-5 job and go work, right? Think about this, right? Each 12 months, Uncle Sam gives them back at least 5 to 10 each 12 months. Every time frame this tax season come back, what do you see? You see people running out here buying new cars, buying new TVs, the flat screens, the curved screens, the everything. But
buy cars every year. Buy a car.
Year.
You spend that $4,000 on a car every year.
It still work. It don't make sense why you keep re-upping, right? But if you took a portion of that income tax money, even $2,500 invested into yourself can go out there and get you $25,000 to $50,000 instantly without even going to go talk to anybody. What can you do with that money? You don't have to go out there now and go get a record deal. You can funnel your own music. You can pay for your own marketing. You can get your own material. You can build whatever business you need to without having to go out there and beg somebody to give you a handout. I could never see myself writing another resume, writing another another situation to where I'm begging someone to give me an opportunity. Why? You need to be begging me to give you that opportunity is what I think everybody's mind state should be. Because if you don't believe in yourself, who else is going to believe you? You got to like really go out there and set forth the motions and put it in motion. And what better motion than to be into you? The worst case scenario is that you're walking around here with an 850 credit score. What can you do with that? I could walk into anybody's car dealership and go get the best of the bestest car off of there. Those little nice little Corvettes that everybody going crazy over now, you can get one with $1,000 or maybe $500 out of your pocket instead of just dropping $5,000 on a bucket that you're going to drive for another 6 months is going to be on somebody's lawn with the flat tires, you know? Like, and now when you do go out there, you use that same credit that you would have used on that. Like, think of this. Most people gonna buy that Corvette and they're gonna just spend it. They're gonna get credit. They're gonna spend $500. But think of this. I'm in the music. I like dealing with music industry people too. I will go out there and go spend that same 60 on that Corvette. But then I'm gonna take that Corvette and I'm gonna give it to the people who don't know how to go get it for upper price than what they would have normally went out there and had to go get it for themselves. Imagine that. I put down $500 to go get this Corvette, right? To get it and bring it to my house. Now you just paid me $1,500 for a couple hours just so you can fake stunt in this Corvette for your music video. Does that make sense? It don't make sense. But at the end of the day, it's about knowledge. It's about empowerment, empowering yourself and understanding that really, if you're gonna fall, always be willing to fall forward. Always feel in a better position than you were yesterday. Because at the end of the day, I'm always looking for some type of scalable factor. You know, once upon a time I was doing parties. I don't want to do parties no more. Now I can do weddings. Why? Because weddings were way more elegant. Weddings bring more money. People were willing to spend $7,000 to $10,000, $25,000, $35,000 on a wedding. Half the time, people who do parties, they don't even want to spend $5,000. So I can have people in here do something for a wedding, make totally way more money, 10 times the amount of money and less headache.
And have more fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Man.
That's it.
Because the spirits are all high because, you know, we're about to get married, man. This ain't no party. Right. You know, them two different vibes.
I mean, when people get married,
even on a man-to-man's perspective or even a woman-to-man's perspective, which one would you rather go pick your husband at a party or at a wedding?
Well, I mean, as a businessman, if I'm intending to make some money in, you know, a party setting, I'd rather host a wedding. Because when it comes to a wedding, there's no limit. People don't care. I need the venue. I got people flying in from everywhere coming to see this.
Because those are memories.
Yeah.
You know, you can party, but those are golden age memories. You know,
when it comes to a wedding, people.
I know now investment parties. Those are probably real good parties.
Oh yeah,
I can imagine.
You know what I mean? Like those are different from just club turning up, trying to listen to 3 6 Mafia, trying to
right.
You know,
right. Well, we definitely got to have you on again. I would love to have you on again.
No doubt.
Appreciate you taking the time out of your day again to
we learned a lot.
Free game.
I know our viewers learned a lot.
I know I learned a lot. I'm be transparent.
I appreciate y'all, and like I say, anytime, you know, I'm here. You know, I'm all about information. I'm all about empowering people. You know,
we come out to Atlanta, you got to show us around.
If
we do a tour out in something in Atlanta, I'm hitting you up. I'm like, hey.
You more than welcome. You ever in Atlanta, pull up. I'm right here. We go turn all the way up, and I'm gonna show you exactly everything that I have going on out here. I mean, because Atlanta, like I keep telling you, once you come out here, you'll see that Atlanta's the land of opportunity. You know, there's so many opportunities out here to go ahead and, you know, make something creative. It's just about whether or not you have that go, that drive, that desire to go ahead and make something happen, you know? So definitely, you know, and if, like I say, if you want, you know, anytime you want the game and help your people out or have you, I'm always here. I was always a big
Hey man, we're gonna hold you to it.
We're gonna hold you to it.
Most definitely. I want to send you some stuff anyway.
I appreciate you, sir.
Most definitely. I appreciate y'all too.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll be in contact with you.
All right.
All right, man.